Word on the street is, some of your favorite rappers are breaking down after freaky tapes involving Diddy started surfacing as evidence. You heard that right, these ain't just rumors anymore. We're talking full-blown federal investigation, hours of video footage, and a list of shocked artists who had no idea they were being recorded. And now with Diddy's trial in progress, some of these tapes are being shown behind closed doors, folks are crying, careers are trembling, and the internet is about to erupt.
A bombshell name drop during testimony in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking and racketeering trial. Why were singers Usher and Neo brought up in the courtroom?
So look, this scandal, it's not just messy celeb drama anymore. It's officially crossed into dark and disturbing territory. And we're not talking about rumors or whispers in the streets. The feds are watching and receipts are flying out left and right. So let's talk about that audio clip, the one that's been making the rounds online. Yeah, the one that supposedly catches Meek Mill and Diddy in a hella questionable moment. Well, that might just be the tip of the iceberg. Word on the curb is the FBI has way more than that, like hours of footage. Not just clips, not just screenshots, footage. And according to sources, what's on those tapes is straight up graphic, emotional, and exposing. Like, not only are these videos incriminating, but apparently, some of your fave rappers were crying after what went down. At this point, it's not just freaky Diddy rumors and wild party talk. These tapes are about to be shown in court, and it's not looking good for anybody involved. Now let's get into who's being mentioned. We all know that Meek Mill and Diddy tape has been floating around the internet for over a year. Gene Deal says he recorded it during one of Diddy's infamous freak-offs, and he's claiming this wasn't a one-time thing. According to him, there's footage of multiple major artists caught in similar situations. And get this, a lot of it was recorded without their consent. That part is important, because not only is that a whole legal violation, it's giving blackmail, it's giving entrapment, and it's giving major power play energy. Now here's the kicker. The FBI has this footage, all of it, and they're using it as part of their investigation into the bigger case. And guess whose name came up again? Usher. From what we're hearing, one of the earliest tapes the feds got their hands on allegedly involves Usher in one of those freak-off parties. And if that's true, this thing is just getting started. So a lot of folks forget that Usher actually lived with Diddy when he was just 13 years old, as part of some so-called mentorship program. But now, industry insiders are saying that time under Diddy's roof might have been way darker than anyone thought.
Moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but there, hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Allegedly, Usher ended up in the hospital after a certain wild night at Diddy's mansion. And while Usher's never spilled the full tea, he has hinted in old interviews that Diddy exposed him to some things he wasn't ready for.
You know, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent him to the hospital? Man, nigga was bleeding from the butt, and that's what was said. But I didn't even have a name for the kid at the time. Then you heard, and that's what happened.
Gene Deal said, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. Knowing what we know now, that line hits different, real different. One producer who used to be around them during that era said Usher came back from that hospital stay a whole different person. More closed off, more guarded, just not the same kid. And if you've ever noticed, Usher rarely speaks on that chapter of his life. Every time someone brings it up, he switches the convo or keeps it vague, almost like he's trying to distance himself without saying too much. But y'all, Usher ain't the only name being whispered in these circles. The feds allegedly got another tape, and this one's got YK Osiris all up in it. Now, if you remember, Osiris had the internet scratching their heads in 2021. First, he was talking about being broke, selling off all his luxury cars, Lambos, Bentleys, the whole flex package gone. Then, not long after, he pops back up out of nowhere, chilling at an exclusive resort in Jamaica. And guess who else was in Jamaica around that exact same time? Yup, Diddy. The timeline's looking real suspicious and people are starting to question what really went down. When he pulled up to the Breakfast Club, they straight up asked him about his connection to Diddy, and let's just say, his response said way more than his words ever could. Like, he didn't deny a thing. He just sat there blushing, giggling, looking all nervous, trying to laugh it off while Charlemagne and them kept pressing. They hit him with the, "Did he ask you to party?" And Osiris was like, "Party? That must be Diddy boppin'." Like, what? It was awkward F.
I ain't gonna say that. I heard about that though, but I ain't about to say that. But
What was
I ain't
it?
about to say it on my.
You and Diddy? You and Diddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you and Diddy.
You and Diddy what?
You and Diddy. They said he was.
Him and Diddy what?
I'm just saying the rumor.
I ain't never heard this,
I'm just saying the
YK.
rumor. They said he was.
How you knew that? How you know that?
Now I'm about to Google because I ain't never heard this one.
Yeah, because nobody would ever say that one.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not
Oh,
So
saying
here
that.
goes envy.
They said that he said he was Diddy's boy toy.
Yeah,
What?
I was in Jamaica with him.
Oh, I see it now.
See?
Yes, I was in
YK
Jamaica with
Osiris
him.
in Jamaica with his alleged boo Diddy.
And now that the FBI is going through hours of tapes, insiders say there's one in particular that might finally explain Osiris's switch up, the behavior changes, the emotional shifts, that whole I'm broke arc followed by I'm living it up in Jamaica. Yeah, that tape might hold the missing pieces, and word is it's disturbing. But this mess doesn't stop with Osiris. Let's talk about the late Aaron Carter. May he rest in peace. Now, before his tragic passing, people close to him said Aaron had been to multiple industry parties when he was still super young, and those events messed him up. There's one moment that's resurfacing where Aaron described a wild situation at the Sheraton Hotel near Universal Studios. He came back from somewhere and boom, 4 FBI agents are in his room, his mom's there, and they're like, tell us what happened. Aaron was confused, like, tell you what? Then they start hitting him with these weird, inappropriate, low-key, disgusting questions, trying to get him to say something about Michael Jackson. But Aaron wasn't having it. He snapped on his own mom like, you really letting this happen? And while Aaron always defended MJ, he hinted at being exposed to the wrong circles as a teenager. Circles he wasn't ready for. Months before he passed, he even started speaking out more about traumatizing Hollywood experiences. Never mentioned Diddy by name, but the vibes, people are connecting dots. And just when you thought this couldn't get any messier, enter Burna Boy. Now this one shocked the internet. Back in 2020, out of nowhere, Diddy suddenly jumped in as executive producer for Burna's album Twice as Tall. They had no prior connection, no long-standing relationship, and suddenly they're all over social media like besties? It gave odd vibes to say the least. Insiders started whispering, questioning the real reason behind that sudden link-up. Like, why did their partnership end so abruptly after the album dropped? And what's up with some of the weird visuals from that time? Some folks claim certain pics looked altered. There were even unverified rumors about the nature of their relationship. Nothing solid, but enough to raise eyebrows. All of this just paints a bigger picture. Diddy might not be the only one caught up in this storm, and we could be looking at a much wider circle of exploitation, manipulation, and trauma that's finally bubbling to the surface. Let's get into one of the wilder angles of the Diddy saga, because Orlando Brown, for all his chaos, has been the only artist openly describing what he claims happened behind the scenes. He's insisted in multiple interviews that Diddy forced him into situations with several big-name rappers. Industry vets are now saying Orlando's crazy talk persona may be intentional. Acting unhinged lets him drop truths no one would otherwise dare repeat.
No, Diddy, you gave me the oosh-gosh goose-wash. You gave me the oosh-gosh muaf, the smoosh-mash. Diddy, yeah, son.
Jaguar Wright has doubled down on that theory. In her view, Orlando's public meltdowns give him cover to speak freely about power players and the alleged exploitation of young talent. She's even linked Justin Bieber and Usher to the same machinery, arguing that both stars were pushed into compromising positions to secure industry favor and wealth. Jaguar hasn't stopped there. She's also pointed to Brycer Gray, Hakeem from Empire, as another casualty. According to several insiders, Brisher's career cooled right after he started attending certain high-profile parties. Jaguar has claimed, minus naming exact dates, that Will Smith acted as the go-between who introduced Brisher to Diddy's circle. Once Empire wrapped, Brisher's work offers dried up, he wound up in that bizarre SWAT standoff, and industry contacts stopped answering his calls. The timeline lines up a little too neatly for some observers. Comedian Cat Williams has been sounding alarms about Diddy's alleged behind-the-scenes behavior for over a decade. He said he walked away from enormous checks rather than compromise himself, hinting at inappropriate propositions from powerful executives.
Matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, TG Jakes, any of them, all lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
Now add the Joseph Manzaro civil lawsuit to the mix. Court filings say he was drugged, ferried through an underground tunnel, and delivered to one of Diddy's private gatherings where A-listers were present. Diddy's lawyers pushed hard to get the case tossed or at least delayed, but the judge ruled the evidence warrants a closer look. Industry whispers claim the FBI tapes aren't just evidence against Diddy. They're leverage on every artist who ever stepped into those parties. That silence you hear from the celebrity crowd, no loud defenses, no outright condemnations, might be self-preservation. Insiders say the names that could surface would stun even veteran reporters. All this raises a bigger question. If the tapes prove half of what insiders suggest, the fallout won't stop with Diddy. We may be staring at a deep, long-hidden power structure finally cracking in public view. Keep paying attention, because when unchecked power meets a mountain of receipts, the results rarely stop at one headline. People have already started making their opinions loud and clear. Diddy needs to stay behind bars for life. One person said, "He is a sicko. I hope he never ever gets out of prison." And another person added, "These people are evil." But what do you think about Diddy's downfall, and who else is getting caught up in the Diddy sauce? Let us know all about it down below.